And just in case you didn't know, her hair is a glory unto her. Greetings, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. And if you're new here, welcome. Today, we're going to be doing this super cute flip over Fulani braids. So I'm starting by breaking down the hair, or my daughter is breaking down the hair. Yep, they get to work, okay? We work them over here. So I'm using my chair. You can use whatever stand or whatever technique you want to use, but I like to break it down. I like to do small or medium sizes for this braid selection, but do it according to the braids you're doing. So now you see here, her hair was not properly blow dried when she came to the appointment. Yes, I am a kitchen beautician, so I need you to come already prepared. And my blow dryer had broken, so I had to use this little blowout dryer thingy that took me extra time to complete the blow dry. Okay, so for this style, going from about a 4-hour job, it went to about 6 hours because we had to detangle her hair. All right, so past that, I got through that, thank God. Now I'm moving on to the back of the head. This is where I'm going to start. This is where she'll have individual boho knotless braids. Okay, so I'm going to actually pre-part her hair. The entire back section, I want to pre-part it. So I'm going to go through and layer out all of my sections. And by pre-parting, I'm just doing the longest row. I'm not going to go in between and part out each individual braid, if that makes sense. So if that's easier for you, you can do that. I like to just go ahead and make the section for that row, and you can use a rubber band, a clip, or just old-fashioned braid it to keep that section out of the way. So as you're parting, you want to make sure that you continue to lift that section of hair up, just so you can make sure that it's not too thick, not too thin, and it's just to the right size. I know they sell a lot of combs that has like numbers or measurements on it. You can also try to use that to keep everything nice and even, but I can give it a pretty good eye, and I'm usually pretty good to go. All right, so as you can see, I'm using my right tail end of the comb, and I'm lifting the hair back and forth just to make sure that section is making sense. Okay, I don't want anything looking too big, too bulky. I want a nice, smooth, even section. And I'm using my shining jam as I part the hair. This is going to give me a cleaner part, and it helps to separate any flyaways or just to separate the sections that I am parting. Okay, so that's another tip you can use to get nice clean parts. Put a little product on the part as you're parting it. And y'all can see I'm still kind of struggling through this hair because that blow dryer I used was not the best one to get the hair stretched out. Yeah, the hair industry often comes with challenges. Sometimes you might ask your clients to do a certain thing, and then they'll show up and hadn't done exactly what you asked them to do. So just be prepared for that. And I worked my way through it. I'm used to a little challenge, so it didn't bother me that much, but it did take more time. So again, I'm going in with the shining jam on the part just to clean everything up. And if you're wondering how to get super neat, clean parts, you need to go over your part over and over and over again until you get it to perfection. Okay, I didn't show it in the video. Of course, these videos are cut and sped up, but I take my time and I continue to go over those parts until I get it to my liking. And now that I've got all my subsections parted, I'm going in and I'm going to start on my first section. In the back, I'm going to be doing 3 braids, and I'm using the neat braid gel on the outside of the braid, and on the inside I use the shining jam. So starting off, I like to just part out 3 sections, and I'm going to start braiding as I would a regular braid. Okay, and I'm going to take the braiding hair and I'm going to add it in between my pointer and my thumb finger. I leave half of the hair out, as you can see on the side right there. I braid on as normal, and then I add that piece into my pointer and my thumb finger when my hand turns over. So here it is again. I added it in, fold it over into my thumb and my pointer finger. I braid on, then I add that piece that was hanging out into my thumb and my pointer, and I'll go over that again. I do have another video on the channel more detailed on how I do the knotless braids, so you can go check that out if you need more help with that area. Okay, and there's also so many other YouTube videos. I always say this, you can go in and look for different techniques. Okay, it's not just one way to do things. And just because something works better for me, it may not work best for you. So it's always good to try out different ways if you're not quite getting it, the way that this one person is showing you, if that makes sense. So again, I'm going through, and you want to make sure that you comb through the section to get that product worked in really well. I parted off 3 sections. I'm going to braid like a normal braid. I'm adding that hair in between my pointer and my thumb finger. I braid on, and as I turn over, I add that piece that was hanging out in between my pointer and my thumb finger. You want to make sure that you keep a nice steady hand and you keep it close and closed to the client's head, just so everything can be nice and tight and locked in. Because if your fingers are slack, then your braid is going to be slack as well. So make sure you keep those hands nice and close together. And as I move down the braid and I'm starting to get towards the end of the client's hair, I'm going to add some type of braiding gel, shining jam, whichever one you want to use, to that section to smooth in the natural hair with the braiding hair, okay? This is very critical if you want to have a neat braid. All right, you want to make sure that the client's hair is saturated with some type of product so that it can blend in well with the braiding hair. Now, if the client already has naturally straight hair, you may not have to worry about this as much. I still would recommend it, but especially for more curly textures and the braiding hair is straight, you want to use the product to blend the hair in good. Here I'm just showing you that neat braid gel that I'm using and the shining jam. These are pretty popular and they're classics. These are what I like to stick to. Again, try different things, okay? There are so many different products on the market nowadays. Try it out because you might find something that works better to your liking. Now, when I'm adding in these curly pieces, I pretty much do it pretty similar to how I add in the braiding hair. I'm just going to add it in on that middle section of the braid. I'm going to braid on as normal. And I leave the side, whichever side, you can leave it off to any side, but I leave one side hanging to the side. And the other part is just going to continue to be braided in. I know I see a lot of people using like a clip to hold the hair aside so you don't snatch it back up as you're braiding. So that's another neat idea that you could use. Now I'm moving on to my next section, and we do have a little visitor over there, y'all. I know y'all seen them drinking the soda. They spilled the soda earlier. If you seen the lady wiping it up off the table. We're a big family. I do have children at home, so you'll see them popping in from time to time, messing with the clients, making a mess, playing with toys. Don't be alarmed. Okay, and so now I'm going in at the next section and I'm going to add in those knotless braids using the same technique. I'm adding in the hair with my pointer and my thumb finger, and I'm making sure that each section is saturated with product before I begin to braid. Okay, here's a closer look. Hey, and let me just jump in to say this. Just because you see the video sped up, I'm not rushing at all. I always say you need to take your time when you're doing any hairstyle. Take your time if you want it to come out nice, okay? You don't want to rush. You want to take your time so that you can get everything to as close as possible to perfection. So now on this braid right here, I just wanted to show y'all she has a little breakage from taking out some locks. So I had to really work my workings when it came to this side of the head, okay? So she had a lot of short spots. I just used that product to slick everything together, and I used a little braiding hair to help me grip it as I begin to braid. So now as we got towards the middle, the hair started to get a lot more kinkier. Y'all know how that middle of our hair be. So I had to add some product to the ends of her hair before I begin to braid it, okay? So I know earlier I told you as you braid down with the braid, you want to do that. But I started to do it before I even began the braid, just to help me work through her hair. Because I noticed that once I put product on her hair, it did soften up a lot. So if you have any type of moisturizer, but I just use the jam. I think that's a better idea because you're going to be braiding it anyway and you don't want to mix too many products. So I just use that shining jam right at the ends of her hair as it got to more kinkier or challenging areas, just to help relax it and be able to, you know, be workable. And now I'm on the last braid in the back, okay? Getting excited because, okay, we're getting closer to being done. Now I can start doing the design braids in the front, all right? And I just kept that same technique throughout the entire back. I believe I added about 2 or 3 curly or boho pieces to each braid. And this hair that she's using is a crochet hair in the texture that's called deep twist. All right, so if you're looking for a more budget-friendly option for the boho pieces, I definitely recommend that. All right, so now we are ready to start doing our Fulani braids in the front. And on the picture that she showed me, this one had the little individual going in triangle shape. So I just parted out a slanted section after I parted the straight back section, as you can see. All right, and don't forget, she's working with a lot of breakage on this side, so I really had to do what I had to do to make it work. Okay, I added in smaller pieces just to give me a better catch, and I got through it, as you can see. Now for this front part, you can really freestyle it. It's so many different designs that you can do. I'm just going off of a picture that she showed me, but you could do all types of designs in the front. Sometimes they don't have the individuals there. They do like just regular braids going all the way back. So it's really up to you or the client how you would like to do this part. Okay, so now I'm just doing one straight back braid. It's like a straight back braid, then we'll do a crisscross, then we're going to do some more individuals so that she can be able to flip it from side to side. And I did do my best to stitch the braids, but like I said, with her, she was working with a little breakage, so it kind of made it difficult to do some of the stitching and some of the designs, but I'm still going to put my best foot forward and do the best that I can do. So now we're doing that crisscross braid, and as you can see, I parted it like I was doing 2 straight backs, and then I split that in the middle. I started my braid and then I swapped it over to the opposite side. So you'll see here, I'm going to start the braid it like regular. I'm feeding the hair in as I braid. And then once I get to the halfway point, I'm going to drag that braid over to the other side. And that created my crisscross. All right. And y'all, I have a more detailed video about how I do my feed-in braids on the channel. So go check that out. So now I'm going in with the individuals. And I just wanted to show you all that I did do this in a V shape. Okay. You want to, in the front, make sure that you're giving a V shape. And as you can see, I done completed them box plaits in the front. Okay, her mom, she's waiting. She was ready to go now. She like, ma'am, you taking way too long. But these styles take long. And plus, I had to spend extra time detangling her hair. All right, so now that I did the individuals, in the middle, I'm just going to do about 4 slanted straight back. Well, they're not straight back. They're slanted back feed-in braids or stitch braids. And it's going to be about 4. Do it according to the client's head shape and the size of the braids. And as I'm braiding these braids in the front, I'm not forgetting to add in my boho pieces. You want to make sure that you're adding in those curly pieces, especially for the individual flip over part. You want to add the curly pieces in like right at the start of the braid so that, you know, when they flip it over, they'll have that little razzle dazzle. And from here, I did the exact same thing on the other side, and this is the results that we got. Okay, so what you saw me do on the other side, I did on the opposite side. I did the same design. and this is how it turned out. I was really pleased with the results. She was too. She's actually going to be in a pageant, so she'll be able to flip and change her hairstyle with the change of her outfit. So that was really cool. This is a very low maintenance style. I did curl the ends using the regular rod and hot water methods, and that's just the ends of the braiding hair. And I added some mousse to finish everything off. So I hope you all were able to get some type of information or inspiration from this video. Please consider subscribing, and we'll see you in the next one. Bless you for watching.